The Babysitter and the Man Upstairs. No, that isn't the title of a bad porn production. Nor does the phrase man upstairs refer, obliquely, to the man upstairs. This one goes way back, to a time when telephone landlines were far, far more common. Sally is babysitting bad little brats. It may or may not be Halloween night, as in that old, famous, 70s horror thriller with the classic, nerve-wracking, near-robotic piano score, but, whatever the case, she is eating popcorn and watching B-movie thrillers on an old tube television set. Ring, ring. Hello? Who is this? Who's there? Heavy breathing. Then. I think you'd better go and check the children. Sally slams down the receiver. Filthy creep, she says to herself, thinking it is just a Halloween prank. Maybe it is Johnny from school. But, she'd have recognized his voice, she reminds herself. He must have put someone else up to calling. Yeah, that's it. She picks up the bowl of popcorn again. On the screen before her, a nasty-looking zombie tries to bust through a boarded-up farmhouse window in some old flick from, like, a million years ago. What was this movie called? She couldn't remember. She had changed the channel from a Dark Shadows marathon. Then. Ring, ring. Oh no! She thinks. She picks up the receiver a little nervously. Hello, she stammers. Silence. Then, the heavy breathing. Look creep, she says, angrily. I've had just about enough of this routine, okay? Silence. Then. I think you'd better go and check the children. Little Billy and Susie are sleeping upstairs, curled away in their little beds. She took them trick-or-treating earlier, Billy dressed as a pirate. Susie went as a butterfly. Mom and Dad had left instructions that they were not to eat too much candy tonight. Besides, they'd have to check it first, make sure some weird creep hadn't put razors or pins in any of it. But she doesn't need this last little bit of a trick-or-treat to top off the evening. Not by a long shot. She puts the phone down on the hook, just as the creep on the other end breaks out, once more, into ghoulish laughter. Suddenly, she puts down the receiver, and she is feeling scared. The house seems dark, too quiet. Outside, the trick-or-treaters are all safely tucked indoors. The street looks empty, vacant, lonely. She can hear every creak of the old house, every tick of the clock, which seems very loud. Outside, the gnarled, witch-like fingers of the autumn branches scrape against the window in the gentle, nighttime breeze. She feels goose flesh break out across her arms. She picks up the phone. She dials the operator. Hello? Operator? Could you get me the police station, please? She is transferred. The friendly, reassuring voice of a female officer on the other end does a lot to make her feel better. Hello? Yes, my name is Sue Shu. I'm calling from 1525 West Timberview. I'm here babysitting, and, well, some creep keeps calling. All he does is laugh, breathe heavy, and tell me I need to check the children. I was wondering, can you, maybe, send somebody over? I mean, he keeps telling me I need to check the children. Well, maybe you better go and do it, then you dumb bitch. The friendly voice on the other end suddenly grows harsh and murderous, like something out of a Freddy Krueger movie. Sue feels her heart skip a beat as she drops the receiver on the floor and screams in terror. Actually, that is not what happens. That is just a little imaginative fun. What really happens is this. Well, miss, unless it's an emergency, sending a squad car over for what I believe is only a prank call, well, that I cannot do. However, I tell you what, next time he calls, try and keep him on the line, and I'll trace the call, okay? Sue sounds a little unsure of things, but says, okay, sure. If he calls back, I'll try and keep him on the line. So you can trace the call. Sue waits, and waits. She thinks, just perhaps, the guy has finally given up for the night. Just then. Ring, ring. She shakes a bit as she picks up the phone. Silence. Then. Have you checked the children? You'd better go and check on them. Remembering what the operator at the police station had told her, Sue says, trying to sound bold. Look, creep. I don't know what sort of sick game you're playing here, but I don't think it's very funny. Now, in about 2 minutes, I'm going to go upstairs and check on those kids. Because I'm the babysitter, and I don't take this kind of shit from anyone. You got that? Silence. Then. You'd better go and check the children. Man, says Sue, you sound like a broken record. Is that all you can say? Silence. They're both dead. And then he hangs up. Sue sets the phone down shakily. Ring, ring. She near jumps out of her skin. Trembling, she picks up the receiver, says, hello? The voice on the other end says, Miss. This is the officer you talked to before. We traced the call. Miss, you need to get out of that house immediately. We're sending a squad car on the double. Miss, that call, it's coming from the phone upstairs. Sue suddenly hears a thumping sound from the stairwell. Lying at the bottom, a bound and bloodied girl has been pushed to the foot of the stairs. She is lying in a dripping puddle of red, her face a mess of cuts and trickling blood. Get out, she croaks in dying anguish. He's killed them. He's killed both of the children. And then she dies.
The hook-handed killer. Maddie and Mark are making out. Hot and heavy, they are rolling around in the front seat, their tongues down each other's throats. Oh, Mark. You stud. I want to do it with you. Okay, baby. Just let me slip out of these jeans, and Superman will be all set. Faster than a speeding bullet. But, cautions Maddie, placing one elegant hand on his hairy chest. Not too fast, huh baby? And, be gentle. Mark, who is shaking like a leaf, plans to screw Maddie from hell to breakfast. He starts to unbutton his button-fly jeans when, all of a sudden, we interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. The madman known as the hook-handed killer has escaped from custody. His real name is Daniel Donald Duckworth, and he is an inmate confined at the Atascadero State Hospital for the criminally insane. Tonight he killed an orderly, a custodian, 2 nurses, and a German shepherd before making his way out to the fence, and managing, despite the fact that it is 9 feet high and ringed by razor wire, to make it over the top to freedom. He then hot-wired and stole a car. His whereabouts are unknown, although it is believed he will probably be lurking lovers' lanes and places where teenagers go to make out. It is currently believed he may have abandoned the stolen vehicle and is hiding out somewhere in the vicinity of Fremont or Rockville. We will keep you posted with updates as they come in. The radio becomes a fuzzy static squeal as Mark turns the dial off. Maddie, all of a sudden, seems a lot less eager. Oh Mark, she whines, I'm really scared. That escaped maniac could be out there right now, lurking in the bushes. Watching, just waiting for us to let our guards down. Suddenly, Mark, take me home. Ah baby, groaned Mark, realizing he wasn't going to get laid tonight. He says, that loon is probably miles away from here by now. You think he'd be crazy enough to stick around with all those cops looking for him? In all honesty, though, Mark feels a little nervous too. He thought he could, faintly, hear some rustling in the bushes a few minutes ago. Probably just an animal, a stray dog, maybe even just the wind. But, he feels his arms, all of a sudden, break out into gooseflesh. Maddie says, on the verge of what he knows is going to be a great big noisy, fussy tantrum, Mark, I don't care what you say. This place is giving me the creeps. I'm scared and I want you to start this car, and take me home right now. She balls up her fists, pounds them on her knees. What a child, Mark thinks disgustedly, and starts to turn the keys in the ignition. "What's that?" He suddenly stops, looks over at Maddie. Did you hear that?" she asks, her voice quivering. He starts to say, "No." Then, he just doesn't say anything. He then whispers, "I don't know. What did it sound like to you?" She pauses. Then says, "It sounded like heavy breathing. Then, like someone scraped something across the rear bumper." He says, trying to control his voice, "Probably just the wind. Some branches." Then, a low, heavy, ominous chuckle. "We're outta here, babe." Mark fires up the car, pulls out onto the dirt drive with a squeal of tire, throwing gravel and grit into the air. Mark drives like a maniac all the way home. As they pull into the driveway, Maddie puts her hand over her heart and says, "Oh, Mark. I've never been so scared in all my life." To which Mark replies, "I know, babe, but it's okay. We're miles away from that place now. Besides," he adds, trying to comfort, hoping they could park out on Lover's Lane sometime in the future, for some more make-out time, "It was probably just the wind and the branches, or something. Probably was no reason for us to panic." Mark gets out of the car, goes around to the passenger side to let Maddie out. "Be a gentleman." He stops. There is a weird, twisted thing hanging from the rear bumper. Mark feels his breath catch in his lungs. It is a twisted metal hook.